the Bengals, and they're in.
That's it.
If they lose, they can still get in.
Still get in a couple variety of ways, but they would need the Bills to lose to the Dolphins.
Okay, or the Titans could lose, I think.
Yes.
And they're in. 60 seconds on the clock. What do you got?
You know, I'm going to take it on the Bengals perspective. This is the Marvin Lewis walk-off. We know how much the players talk about him and glow about him. There's this thing hanging on Marvin Lewis. He never won the playoff game. It matters. But I will just say this. Do you remember the Cincinnati Bengals before Marvin Lewis got there? They were the joke of the league. They were what the Browns are now. Absolutely abominable team. He did a lot of good things there. It's the last time we're going to see him. But let's not forget how he built that team.
And I wouldn't be doing the legacy just yet. He's still got one more game. And I think this could be one of those trap games where the Bengals, who showed up and played last week against the Lions, say, we would love nothing more than this forgettable 2017 season to have some sort of high note. Beat the Lions, knock them out. Beat the Ravens, really screw up their playoff.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Marvin Lewis walk-off. A couple weeks ago, before the game last week, they got walked on. So I'm trying to figure out what Cincinnati Bengals team are we going to see going into the last part of the season. Because when you finish off the season, you're not playing for anything, but you are playing for your resume, and we will remember what you did.
Ravens get in. I'm always scared of them when they get into the playoffs, but they are 8-1 against teams losing records this season. They are 1-4 against teams.
Okay, if the Ravens win, they would play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. In the wild card round, they would play Chiefs in Arrowhead, and the Ravens are 3-0 in Arrowhead playoffs all time.
If we like the disarray, you want a Ravens loss, right? Because that sends it into chaos a little bit in the AFC if the Bengals win.
If you don't live with a Baltimore area code, you're rooting for the Bills and all that craziness.
Gotcha.
Speaking of those Bills, they are going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Cutler will start in this run. Yes, the Bills are heading down there. The Dolphins, they're done. We're going to wrap them up at the end of the week. I'll probably be rapping about the Dolphins to watch. Buffalo makes the playoffs if they get a win and the Ravens do, in fact, lose to the Bengals. They can also make it in if both the Chargers, Lip Rivers, and the Titans with Mariota get L. 60 seconds on the clock. What are you looking for in this matchup?
I'm looking at Tyrod Taylor at the quarterback position. You know, he's came back on the field, and they've been winning games, and now they're in a position where they need a little help, but they have to get this dub. We all know about the Nathan Peterman game. But is Tyrod going to put this team on his back? We've looked at Tyrod. Even this past weekend, the game was a typical Tyrod game. It wasn't amazing, didn't blow you out statistically, but they got the dub. So I'm looking for Tyrod going into this last part of the season.
It's funny because I watched that game last week, and I know the score was one thing, but it was really close throughout. And then once that call was overturned, it got out of hand. Deontay Thompson, right? This guy and Kelvin Benjamin, the receivers from the Bills have to make a couple plays here. They did last week, and they kept in that game with the Patriots. They need to step up huge here, and I'm not sure those guys, those names, are the ones who are going to be able to do it.
I'm so sick of hearing about 1999. I'm so tired of it. Frank Wycheck, Lorenzo Neal was an amazing moment. I'm tired of it. It's a tired, low-hanging fruit to talk about on TV shows and radio shows. I want the Bills in the playoffs. We won't talk about it anymore. I have a feeling, just knowing the Bills, the things they need to happen are going to happen. I feel like it's going to come down to them winning, and I genuinely hope they do. Let's change this thing.
I really think LaShawn McCoy can carry the team. I don't even want Tyrod Taylor to have to do it all on himself. LaShawn McCoy, perfectly built for a playoff run. Hopefully he can shoulder the load there. Also, it's just the quarterbacks that are intriguing to me. Is it Cutler's last game? We don't know. He's been racking up hotel points and being amazing all season long. And also, what does it mean for Tyrod Taylor's future if he gets a win here and gets them into the playoffs for the first time since 1999. Either way, it'll be pretty interesting. All right, moving on to the Raiders visiting the StubHub Center. Kyle's favorite, the Chargers hosting the Raiders, and they need a win to stay alive. They also need a Titans loss coupled with either a Bills loss or a Ravens win. 60 seconds on the clock. Kyle, what are you looking for?
This is going to be amazing television. When I found out the Chargers were going to LA and I saw the schedule, we circled it. New Year's Eve, Raiders at the StubHub Center. You thought that the Eagles fans took over that place? No. Understand, the stadium, the amphitheater, is in South Central, all right? Straight out of South Central. It is a Raiders fan hotbed. The shots of the crowd, the atmosphere that the Chargers are going to have to play in on their home field to win this game, we've never seen it in NFL history. I have to watch it. Must-see TV. Raiders fans in the StubHub.
And for me, it's historically, I love that, historically, that this team, if the Chargers find a way in, just how amazing it's been. 0-4 to here. The last time anyone did it was the 92 San Diego Chargers, led by Junior Seau and Stan Humphries. This team can do it. They need a little help, but man, what a cool story it would be if the Chargers could get in the playoffs.
You know, this is the long kiss goodbye for Raiders fans over the next duration of them still being in Oakland. I'm looking at Marshawn Lynch. I talked about it a little early in the show. The Chargers allowed a 100-yard rush the last couple weeks. Marshawn had 95 last week. Marshawn, let's finish on a high note. Go out there and have the game of your life. That would be the most amazing thing for anybody that loves football, loves Marshawn, and loves the Raiders.
Raiders have won 4 of the last 5 between the two. Woof. Bears at Vikings. Simple scenario for the Vikings: beat the Bears and clinch a first-round bye. They can also get the bye with a Panthers loss or a Saints win, or if Sean McVay's Rams win as well. Ooh, spicy. 60 seconds on the clock. Shrinks, what are you looking for?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Mitchell Trubisky has had a couple good games leading up to this one. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Browns. Everyone's talking about all the other young quarterbacks, Garoppolo and Goff and Dak. Trubisky's going to finish the rookie season having a really good year and going to go out on a high note. And what better way to do it than to end the season with a win in Minnesota and kind of giving everybody a little taste for next season. Trubisky, finish up strong.
Kind of like Carson Wentz did last
Very similar.
Yeah, this is still the NFC North. I want people to remember, even though this is the latter part of the season, two different teams headed in two different directions, this is the black and blue division. And when you go out there, regardless if it's week 1, week 17, there's going to be some helmets clacking. There's going to be some pads banging. This is going to be a high-flying game. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, you think the Vikings should just go and just nail him off, done. We're going to the playoffs. I'm looking at Trubisky, too. We're going to spend a lot of time in the offseason talking about this is the last shot we're going to get of him for 9 months. You were drafted to beat the Lions, Packers, and Vikings. There are going to be fans there watching you. Send us out on a high note, dude. You can play. Maybe you'll get a new coach in the offseason. We don't know. But send us out on a high note. Who knows, right? Get out. I'm talking about the Bears. Give me a growl. I want to see Trubisky go out well.
Moving on to the Chiefs. They are locked in. They cannot move. They have the 4th spot in the AFC. They had a really hot start. They went down a little bit. Now they are back. So they decided to rest everybody. And Andy Reid came out yesterday around noon Eastern and said, yo, we're going to play Patrick Mahomes. And he's going to start when they head to Denver, which is a tough place for the rookie to go for a game with no postseason implications. So this is just a fun watch, right, Triggs?
That's where his back foot that we're going to be talking about all off season, where he does something absolutely absurd with that arm of his. I love the Patrick Mahomes experience, and thank you, Andy Reid, for giving us just one weekend of it this season.
You know, we've had these moments this year, whether it was Eli getting back on the field, different quarterbacks coming back from injury, and we're talking about the opposing team saying, so what, who cares? This is still Denver Broncos defense, and if you got 2 p.m., this young quarterback coming in, everybody's going to be hype about him. Let's go play ball. It's a rookie. Go and make him feel like a rookie. Make him uncomfortable in that pocket. I'm looking for Denver Broncos defense play some ball.
I look back to being on those rocky steps in Philadelphia when Kansas City took Pat Mahomes. We've been waiting, 8 months for this? I wish that Tyreek Hill could just play for one play. The first play of the game, that's all I want. Remember at Tecmo Bowl, you would run all the way back to the end zone and then chuck it 300 yards? That's what I want. Anything less than that, I'll be disappointed. I just want to see that old Winchester on 2 p.m., let it rip. Just give me one play with Tyreek Hill. One. That's all I
wonder if Elway is happy that we're talking about Mahomes instead of their own quarterback situation in a meaningless Week 17 game. Yeah. And everybody's freaking out about the rookie who we haven't even seen throw the ball in a regular season game in Mahomes. What about Paxton Lynch? What are they doing? What are they planning? I thought that's where I thought you were going when you were talking about sitting on the Philly steps. Are they going to hit a guy in the draft? Are they going to maybe try to get Cousins or Eli or Drew Brees? It'll be really interesting to see what the Broncos do try to rebound from the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, he could affect the things. If Lynch comes in and lights it up, all of a sudden pulls out 300 yards, maybe they're like, maybe Paxton Lynch is a thing. That's interesting.
Lynch v. Mahomes. Just all 3 of you went Mahomes.
I
don't blame you.
Since we haven't seen him, and we have seen.
When I got the news, I rolled out of bed like, let's go!
Start the game now.
Cowboys at Eagles. No playoff implications here. The Eagles have already clinched the top seed guys in the NFC, but they are looking to get Foles in better sync, develop some rhythm within that offense as they get set to host the rival Cowboys.
I'll go first with this. Des Bryant had an interesting comment yesterday. They said, would you take a pay cut? He said, nah, whatever. To me, the Cowboys, how are you going to finish this season? Because Des had an underwhelming season. I think Dak, all things considered, I know there's a lot going up against him this year. Underwhelming season. And this wasn't how it was supposed to go. You shouldn't be playing a irrelevant Week 17 game against the Eagles. If anything, you should have been the team that was favored in this one. So terrible, terrible way to end the season for the Cowboys. But how do you finish? How do you finish with pride? I want to see if they can give the Eagles anything.
We had a classic rust versus rest debate here earlier on the show about the Eagles and resting starters and everything. I want to see Nick Foles play. And if it's for a half, it's for a quarter. Let's remember, Case Keenum, when he came in, it wasn't until around Week 8 he really got in sync with his receivers and Thielen. It took a little time. I understand the risk involved in playing Nick Foles, but there's also a huge risk in not playing him. I'd like to see him out there. No completions to Alshon Jeffrey last week. Let's get something going.
I want to see him warm up, take the first series as if it's a preseason game, and then put on the sideline.
One series?
I'm very comfortable with what I saw of Nick Foles. I'm looking for the backup.
Last week, what you saw Nick Foles, you're comfortable with?
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. It is what it is at this point. He didn't play a good game, but the previous 2 weeks he played great out of his mind. I think we got enough out of them. They still have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
I think I'm more with you. I want to see him settle in a little bit more with the offense.
Me too. But if something were to happen and you played him and he gets hurt, then it's a disaster. But you got to play him, I think.
What would happen then?
Who's the backup?
Nate Sudfeld.
Oh, Mr. Sudfeld.
Saw Connor Cook last year. It didn't work out well.
For the latest news and notes around the league as we get into the swing of things for Week 17, let's bring in our very own NFL Network insider, Ian Rappaport. Good morning, Ian. The Giants drafted cornerback Eli Apple, 10th overall in 2016. Yesterday, he was suspended for the last week of the season. What is going on with the New York Giants?
Well, they described it, interim general manager Kevin Abrams actually making the big move here, described it as a pattern of behavior, conduct detrimental to the team for Eli Apple. And yeah, this had been something that had been going on all year, and the fact that Landon Collins called him a cancer on local radio only added to this. But there were two specific incident sources said that happened yesterday that led to the suspension. One was a confrontation between Tim Walton, the cornerbacks coach from the Giants, and Eli Apple. That happened early on in practice, and apparently Apple had to be restrained by teammates. That is not good. The other one was he refused to take the field with the scout teamers, which had been his role for the last couple weeks. He actually was active last week, played on special teams, no defensive snaps. He's just a scout teamer for them, didn't want to take the field. All of that led to his suspension, the end of his 2017, and put his future in the hands of the new coach and GM.
Unbelievable, Ian. These young dudes need to get out their feelings. That frustrates me as an older guy that takes pride in being a ball player. Now, let's talk about Eli Manning, who actually took some scout team reps when he was benched. So how about that for a balance in personalities? But the quarterback situation, the Giants will have a backup in Davis Webb. What does that mean for Eli Manning's future with the Big Blue?
That's right. The Giants this week deactivating Geno Smith. Davis Webb is going to be active, which does open the door to him playing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up playing some snaps in the second half, something they originally thought of doing a couple weeks ago before everything went crazy and Ben McAdoo got fired and the fans went nuts and all of that stuff. As far as Eli goes, my understanding is his future is okay in New York. He wants to be back. They want him to be back, would serve as a mentor for whichever new quarterback they bring in next year, whether it's someone they draft, whether it's a free agent. Would actually kind of be full circle for Eli, who early on in his career was the guy pushing Kurt Warner in a similar situation. What this would be is simply, does Davis Webb get to stake his claim to the next quarterback of the Giants, or does he come out and not look like he's ready, and then maybe they have to go out and draft someone real high?
All right, according to Vikings head coach Sam Bradford is returning back from that injury that put him on IR. So word on the street is he's back on the field. What does that mean for Case Keenum headed into the playoffs?
Going to be back in the field next week. Got to pass physical on Monday, but they expect it's going to happen. His knee has been getting, surgically repaired knee has been getting a lot better. But this sounds to me, from the people I've spoken with, as an insurance policy. Case Keenum, the starter going forward, going to go play the playoff game. If something happens to the quarterback position, and for the Vikings, everything has happened to the quarterback position that could possibly happen over the last 3 or so years, then they have Sam Bradford ready and able if he looks good enough in practice. Maybe as the backup, maybe as the starter if they get some injuries. He's there in case, which is not a bad thing.
I thought your pun there, in case. I get it.
Well done.
Not bad.
It's his name also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. And Kyle just said it. He really, week 8 on, Case Keenum's been lights out. He's settled in, found a rhythm with that offense. Nice to have some depth there going into the postseason with one of the best storylines in the league, which is the Vikings, especially with the potential of them playing in the Super Bowl, which is in Minnesota, which is awesome. And probably the next time we'll see you, even though
Yeah, it would be awesome.
you're in New York and you just don't come. 1,000 yards rushing for the first time in his career just this season, just last week. Ankle injury. Will he play against the Raiders?
He is optimistic that he's going to play, telling people privately on Tuesday and then reporters publicly on Wednesday. The Chargers are taking a little more of a wait-and-see approach. Didn't practice yesterday. Probably not going to practice today. They're going to see how he is on Friday. He's right. His season has really gotten overshadowed by
You never know what we're doing.
You could make up for it right now. Would you rather kick it with the guys from 1999, 1990s SNL or In Living Color?
Oh.